Run a minute or two behind again, man. Anyways, anyways, how the heck are you? One more time of feeling, man. See if we can see if everything's working right this time. Yeah, it's not letting me do it again. I just can't figure out what's changed. It's making me crazy, but can't seem to do anything about it at the moment. Hmm. It let me change it after the video was done last time, but I can't figure out what's going on with this thing. Now, I posted the feed to the Facebook page, so if you just hit the YouTube link, it'll take you right to the live video, but can't figure out why the other one isn't working. Anyways, it just doesn't matter anymore. It just doesn't matter. Channeling meatballs. Anyway, that won't make any sense to you unless you watch meatballs. But anyways, so I decided to do something with a cocktail here. Oh, damn, that's good. So I had some lime juice. Again, it's hot, so I'm thinking refreshing. And you don't necessarily think whiskey when you're thinking refreshing. In all honesty, that's why people tend to go with vodka or gin. But I'm a whiskey guy. So I wanted to do a whiskey cocktail. So I used one that I had right here that I got for my birthday. A birthday whiskey, nothing better than birthday whiskey, other than a birthday nookie. But that's something we'll talk about another day when my wife is in the room. Weissman Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. There's something I want to read here, but my old eyes aren't seeing it. I gotta sit this down. Ugh, I don't know. Nose is itching. Good Lord. So this is a Kentucky Al product. That's what I wanted to get to you. That's the Weissman American Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It's a 90 proof whiskey, and it ain't bad. It's nice. I wasn't familiar with it, but I thought it might go good with this particular cocktail. So I used the whiskey, lime juice, and just a little simple. That's it. And you wonder why you have a cherry in your town? Well, because I didn't have a lime. Just the cherry is that all-purpose garnish. The dark cherry, that all-purpose garnish for any straight-up cocktail when you don't have what you're really looking for. So that's why it also gives us some color, so it's kind of nice in there. But if I had a lime, that'd have been very nice. Anyways, I digress. No, this is delicious actually. So I used 2 ounces of the whiskey, about 3/4 ounce lime juice, about a half ounce of simple. I didn't want it sweet. I just didn't want it extremely tart, right? I just wanted to sweeten up that lime a little bit, going for like key lime pie, right? That kind of tartness. And it really works with this whiskey, man. It really does. That's nice. I'm gonna take that garnish out because I'm not really a garnish guy. I just feel like every cocktail ought to have one. but they mean nothing to me. It meant nothing to me, baby. Oh man, that's good. As always, anybody watching, if you have any questions or comments, please chuck it up there. I will answer damn anything. Just can't figure out why that won't work for me. But nevertheless, uh, the end of a week wasn't necessarily a long week, just kind of felt like it. It's my first ever and probably last ever cocktail contest. Last weekend, well, it was rather emotional. I did okay. I mean, there was nine of us. I finished right in the middle of the pack, fifth. And in all honesty, I wasn't super surprised by it because I mean, it was kind of the path I chose, right? They give you a theme. You got to use very specific. Well, your ingredients can vary, but you have to use certain liquors that they provide for you. In this case, it was tequila or tequila mezcal derivatives of. But for me anyway, it was more about. And sometimes I say I'm not very competitive, and that's not 100% true. It's just that I'm competitive in a different way, right? I'm not necessarily looking to win or win at all costs. I'm looking to be 100% true to myself and what I do. And that usually ends up not getting me first place, but that's not really the point for me anyway. And I think for a lot of folks, it is that win at all cost mentality, especially now. It seems to be getting worse, but I don't have that. I've never had that. For me, it's been more important just to be true to who you are. So when they give you parameters, right there. Here's the theme. Here's what you got to use. Do what you got to do. And it's kind of up to you to perceive the theme, right? In this case, the theme was tequila and tracksuits. Well, a lot of them went more modern with the tracksuits, but less traditional with the cocktails. And I kind of went the different direction. Whereas I, I took it when you say tequila and tracksuits, but you don't give me a decade to follow. I chose the 80s. I wanted to make it kind of an 80s kind of theme thing for me. So rather than being tracksuit, being the oldest person in the competition, I dressed as the coach, which made sense to me. Now, I don't know if it made sense to anybody else or if anybody else got the reference, but that was the point. And when I did the cocktail and the garnish, I just wanted to make sense to me. And I knew that not all the judges were going to get it because they were all, you know, they're all younger. Now they were good. I'm not saying they don't know what they're doing or that they didn't pick the right choices because honestly, I think they did. But it wasn't exactly a jury of my peers, right? If I had two over 50 judges, I might have been a little further up the food chain, but I would have never won. And that was the point. I really wasn't trying to win. I just wanted to make a good cocktail, and I wanted to be true to myself and true to the theme. I picked the theme, right? Their theme was tequila tracksuits. I was the one that zeroed in on 80s. So for me, I wanted to make that what I felt would be, well, would fit in that decade with what I was trying to do. And I went more cheesy while most of the contestants went very serious. But I was happy with what I came up with. And the folks that really liked what I did all cited the same thing, that out of 9 cocktails, I was the only one that was spirit forward. I was the only one out of 9 that chose to elevate the spirit rather than make it a background player. But it was a good learning experience for me, in all honesty, because uh, in spite of my age, in spite of being an old man, I haven't been a professional bartender for a very long time. Yeah, always, I'm sorry I missed that comment earlier. I just put up there. Happy birthday, my friend Alex, the beer master. Hope you enjoyed that whiskey. I did. I did very much so. Thank you very much. Slancha. But anytime you learn something new, it's about growth, right? So whether I finished first, fifth, or last, I mean, there would have been some growth involved. So I'm kind of glad I didn't finish first, because then I would have got a big head. I've been very proud of myself. And so I don't need to learn anything new. I'm already great. But fifth is a good spot. And it's right in the middle. I wasn't the best. I wasn't the worst. And it did show me that some of the folks got where I was coming from, right? And that was the point. Is I knew not everybody would. I knew it. I mean, I knew that again. The judges are the judges in this particular competition. I knew of most of them, and they know what they're doing. But I also knew that they were looking for something different than what I was doing. I did have one judge come to me afterwards and said, Tom, I gave you high marks for technique, but I got to admit, at first, I didn't think you knew what you were doing until I got to the end. There was one cocktail we had to make in front of everybody, and my technique was obviously different than everybody else's. The reason for that? What is the reason for that, Tom? Because I really don't have any technique. It's all about, well, a lot of it is about just love and instinct, right? So I make cocktails a lot like I make food. Is some things have to be layered. If you're making certain foods, soup, stew, something, sauces, for instance, you don't throw all the spices in at once. You layer certain things. So they give us this cocktail, and I had no idea what it was, other than it was so we're using tequila and or mezcal, and it's called a something something old fashioned, Oaxacan old fashioned, I think. And I didn't know what the cocktail was. And they give you ingredients, and you don't know that you need to use them all or not use them all. As it turns out, yeah, you were supposed to use all of them. But see, that didn't make sense to me, so I didn't do that. I put the ingredients together that made sense to me. So I didn't get that cocktail 100%. But I think the one judge kind of got where I was coming from. He said, well, I wasn't sure what you were doing until I tasted the cocktail. I said, oh, okay. I'm looking at this guy all wrong. That's not what he said. What he said was, I didn't think I didn't think you knew what you were doing until I tasted the cocktail. And then after I took a drink, I said, oh, damn, Tom does know what he's doing. I am very unorthodox, and a lot of that is just because I don't have that formal training. Um, but a lot of it, I do believe anyway, is instinct. I just went the same way I could. I have limited formal training with both food and cocktails, but a lot of it is about a love, right? You want to do things a certain way. You want things to taste a certain way, so you work with what you got to get there. And while the other contestants are trying to make everything beautiful, I'm more about rustic and natural, so I never try to make anything look really, textbook perfect. For me, it's about that, that experience, right? So, anyways, I digress. I am going to come back with one more thing for you, so bear with me. I've got it ready to go. So, give me just a couple minutes, get off camera, be right back. Okay, I apologize. It took a little bit longer than I thought it might, but I am back if you're still with me. Anyways, luncheon. So, I went a slight different direction here. Going dessert cocktail. Set that down for a second. I decided to go with another birthday whiskey from Levi and Ann. This is the Walcott, specially bottled at an elevated proof, authentic Kentucky made bourbon. This is distilled by Barton 1792, Rickhouse Reserve Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey at 120 proof, distilled, aged, and bottled by the Clear Springs Distilling Company, Louisville, Kentucky. So I don't know. I guess maybe you could consider this a label whiskey. I don't know. I don't know if it's exclusive to Total Wine or not, and that I'm wondering about because they were pushing it hard. Bottom line is, it ain't bad. It ain't bad at all, man. Feel like I had to have that garnish in there for a second, but I'm going to pull it out because it just gets in the way. Anyway, I digress. So what I did with this one again, I kept it very simple. Set that down. But I did add one more step that I didn't with the other one. So I used that Walcott bourbon. I used the Luxardo cherry liqueur, but the other step was this one. The strong water cherry bourbon bitters, and we just add that one extra step. I got this bitters thing for my birthday. Oh gosh, that is good. So the Luxardo cherry liqueur, it's a little different. It's not what you might expect it to be. I was worried it'd be too heavy. And it seems we drifted into Saturday. We drifted. We drifted, baby. We drifted. Anyways, I digress. Yeah, this is really good though. I get asked about ice every once in a while. I just even want to make it old fashioned. I would say at least 70% of the time, maybe more than that, that I make it straight up. I do have the square cube molds. I use them upon occasion, but I feel like the older I get, the more I just prefer a straight up cocktail, and I prefer it in a coupe. I don't want ice. I don't want things melting. But oddly enough, having said that, the older I get, I'm I found that I really am enjoying certain cocktails, right? That I didn't expect to be enjoying. I like my whiskey neat. I do. I drink less whiskey on the rocks than I used to, but I'm really enjoying the cocktail thing. The more I'm exploring cocktails and making them for a living, the more am enjoying the idea of them actually and making different things. So wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is obviously bourbon, starting with a Manhattan and an old fashioned. But I'm starting to figure out different things, figuring out a good martini, working with products like I did another video, the Blanco Vermouth, or even products like Sue's Very Herbal. And then I'd go to an upcoming show with some friends for and a chaser program. Figure out a cocktail for Malort. God help us. God help us all. Mm, God, that is nice. I was kind of worried, in all honesty, that would make it. It would make it a heavy cocktail, but it didn't. Gives you that light cherry feel. Again, I added that bourbon cherry bitters, and oh man, cheese whiz and bacon. That's just gorgeous. Anyways, I feel like I've talked long enough now. Oh gosh, that's nice. See, for me, I want that drink cold. I don't want that cocktail cold, but I don't want ice sitting in there killing those flavors. Am I worried about it warming up? Honestly, no, I'm not, because it's not going to last that long. And quite frankly, if you filled your glass beforehand, if you filled your cocktail properly, yes, over time it's going to warm up, but it's going to stay cool for the most part as long as you don't dilly dally too long. So, anyways, I digress. I am Tom, the whiskey whisperer, whiskey evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, prepared wisdom all around. Good guy, sláinte.